Hello, it's World Radio Day, and today I'm have the pleasure of talking to Juliet, who is based in Ho in Ghana. How are you, Juliet?
Hello, Rob. I'm good. I hope you're good too.
Yeah, it's a bit. The lockdown here goes on for quite some time. It's been an extended period of lockdown here, but hopefully soon we'll be coming out of it. With the power of Zoom, we're able to have a chat. Could you just introduce yourself and tell us what you do with Volta? Are you still with Volta Premier?
Yes, I'm with Volta Premier FM. So my name is Juliet Nugble. I'm the supervisor at Volta Premier FM. Volta Premier FM is a campus-based radio station here in the Volta region, and it's the first private station in the Volta region. In the past, it was until 1996, we had only the state broadcaster broadcasting in the region, that is Volta Star Radio, which belonged to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So through the intervention and innovation of some students, we started a campus radio station, more like a modular station for them to learn about broadcasting and communication, and more of a practical ground for our students. So it was a student initiative, but in Ghana, you cannot grant licenses to students to operate radio stations. And so the university, at the time it was a polytechnic, also came on board to assist in getting a license for the radio station to operate as a campus-based radio station. So that is what we are, and that is what we've been doing over the years. But as a campus-based radio station and being the first private radio station in the region, we have been able to impact and operate more like a community radio than just being on campus. So our coverage extends to other parts of the region, and we've been able to carry out, and we continue to carry out programs that impact all aspects of society. And we look at enhancing the well-being, not only of our students who come for practicals, but also the communities in which we operate. So that is what we do. I've been a supervisor. I first began as a student volunteer because I'm also a product of Technical University as a polytechnic. So when I was a student, I also got the opportunity to serve as a volunteer at the radio station. Then after my national service, I got employed back to the radio station as a supervisor. That was in 2012. And that's what I've been doing till date.
And tell us a little bit about Ho. I visited you once about 3 years ago, and it's a lovely region in the Volta region. It's near Lake Volta. Is that correct? If my memory serves me right.
Yes,
tell us a bit.
That's correct.
Tell us a bit. Paint a picture of what life's like in Ho.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. We dropped out for a second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the country Ghana is divided into 16 regions, and Volta region is one of the 16 regions that we have. Initially, it was from the southern part, which is around Keta and bordered to Togo, to the east, all the way to Nkwanta and Dambai. But now the region has been divided into two. So we have Volta and we now have Oti region. So Ho is the regional capital of the Volta region, and it's about 45 minutes drive from the Volta Lake. which is the border between Volta Region and another region, which is the Eastern Region. It is basically cosmopolitan, and it's one of the regions that you find some fresh air that you breathe because there's limited pollution. It is not as crowded as the Greater Accra region, where we have Accra, the capital of Ghana, and Kumasi, which is bigger than the Volta region. But it is cosmopolitan, and a lot of people are accepting postings, especially those in the public sector, are preferring postings to the Volta region because this place is less noisy, it is not so crowded, but you will still find every other thing that you can find in the national capital here. And so Ho is one of the places that everybody should try and visit. If you're coming to Ghana, you should come to Ho because being the regional capital, it leads to so many other tourist sites as well in the region. And it's not so far. Some are just 15 minutes drive, 30 minutes drive, an hour's drive, and you'll be at a lot of these tourist sites. You can talk of the Tafi Atome Monkey Sanctuary, which is about an hour's drive from home. You can talk about Mount Gemi and then the waterfalls in Amejope, which is 30 minutes drive from home. You can talk about the Tagbo waterfalls, about 45 minutes drive from Ho in Liati, Wote, and Afajato. So there are numerous sites that you can also visit when you get to the regional capital. So it's the hub, and you find people of all races in the capital.
And you've frozen for a second, so I'll let this catch up. I hope it's there. We go. So tell us a bit about what you do with the life of the radio station is like. What's the kind of programs that the station produces, and how does it approach bringing people together?
Okay, so we are 25 years. We'll be 25 years in April. We had our license in April 1996, and we started on-air operations in July 1996. So this year will mark 25 years of existence of Volta Premier FM. And so we organize programs. Apart from the on-air programs that we have, on-air, we host talk shows, we host health programs, we host programs for children because we believe that they also have a role to play and they form the future. And so we look at ways to groom them, especially together with their teachers at school. We have a flagship program for students at the basic level, that is from kindergarten all the way to JHS 3, which is like stage 9. And then for those in the tertiary institution as well, we engage them, for instance, every Saturday morning. We call it Campus Journal. Campus Journal is a platform to tell us what is happening on our various campuses. And it is not limited to only students of Ho Technical University, but also to students in other tertiary institutions. Now we have the University of Health and Allied Sciences also in the region and in the regional capital, but they do not have a radio station. And we also have the Evangelical Presbyterian University College. So they are sister institutions. Ghana Telecom University College is also in the regional capital. So we look at ways of bringing all these tertiary students together for them to also tell us live and how they're able to cope on their various campuses. Then we also have 70% of our programs are actually in English because of the environment in which we find ourselves. So the 30% are in our local language called Ewe, because we do not want our external listeners as well to also be left out. So we have Ewe programs, we look at tourism promotion, and it will interest you to know that we have been adjudged the 2019 Tourism Media of the Year. So we are the ones that, when it comes to radio stations that promote tourism, Volta Premier FM is the best when it comes to tourism promotion. And we picked that award in 2015, in 2019. We are looking forward to repeating the feat in 2019. So we have a designated tourism program which is run every Thursday evening. I host that program because I'm also very passionate about tourism. I love it. And so it's one of the things that we do. Then apart from that, we host outdoor programs as well. For instance, if the university and other institutions are also having their congregations or graduations, matriculation, we do outdoor broadcasts for them. We bring their students who also come. We do live coverage of the entire program so that parents and other listeners who wouldn't have the opportunity to be present at the program would be able to catch up with everything that is happening during the session. Then we have other outdoor programs. We call it Premier Kids. It's one of our flagship outdoor programs every year that we bring students from the basic schools together. We do talent hunts for them. We bring bouncy castles. We do face paintings, all those things that excite the children. So it's one of the days that we take the Premier Kids program, which is on air outside. So we usually host it at the whole sports stadium. And the least number of students or basic school students that we've ever had was 2,000 students at the stadium. So they really enjoy it. And so it's one thing. Last year we couldn't hold it because of COVID. And we're thinking that things would get better for us to do it this year because the students keep asking, so when next are we going to have it? It's one of those rare opportunities that they didn't get to meet some of the cartoon characters. We get costume for these cartoon characters, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, those that they love, Spider-Man and all of that. We get them, the costume characters. So they are able to meet these characters that they usually watch in the cartoons. It is not common to get these things here. So we arrange and bring all these things to their doorstep. Unfortunately, COVID is not making it look as if we'll be able to hold it again this year. Unless the situation improves by the middle of the year, then we can look at organizing it. But it's usually held in March after our Independence Day celebration, because there's a holiday after Independence. After the Independence Day, the following day is a holiday for all basic school children. So that is where we engage them in this program.
I've got some. I've got the links to your Instagram and Twitter and your website, so I'll put them up with the with the when we share the video and the audio. You mentioned COVID, and how important has the station been in providing information during the pandemic?
Even this morning, there's a program going on. We call it The Perspective. It's our weekly news analysis program. And as at yesterday evening, the case count in the Volta region was 296. However, this morning, we have crossed the 300 line. We got this information directly from the regional health director who, because of the COVID, we are limiting the number of people who also come to the station. So we had a telephone interview with him, and he gave out this number. My colleague Lambert Achivo is the one who is hosting the program even as we speak. So it is one of the mediums through which we disseminate information on the COVID, the protocols. One of our reggae show hosts called Ras Montana, has also composed a song in the local language on coronavirus and the need for us to observe the protocols. And it is one of the things that we continually play on the station so that our listeners would understand the severity of this pandemic and also protect themselves, because it's very much needed. We all need to be alive at the end of the curve. If everything goes down well, we'll continue to be alive. There are people who have lost their loved ones to the pandemic. Over 400 people have died in Ghana out of the pandemic, though we would have wished that it was less than that. So we continue to engage them with the programs that we carry out, and then we limit the number of people that are coming to our station, and we also advise them to observe all the protocols. I'm sure when we even started the session, I just forgot that I was alone in my office and I was still in my nose mask. And so you realize that we are advising and educating them to all observe the protocols, wearing of the nose mask, washing of hands frequently with soap and the running water, and also social or physical distancing. There's even a shift system that has been introduced in the university and the entire country. So we are limiting the number of people who come to work. So someone comes in the morning and goes, another person comes in the afternoon, so that the place wouldn't be crowded, wouldn't have so much contact with ourselves. So that is what we are doing, and we are hoping that our listeners, due to the feedbacks that they give us when we activate our phone lines, when we have our program, they activate the phone line, and they also share their experiences with us, and they tell us how much of an impact the education that we carry out has on them. So they're hoping for the best.
And do you think there's something that radio does better or different enough? What is it about radio that helps people maybe than printed or video forms of media? I mean, we do all of those things, but what does radio bring that helps people to understand?
We cannot underestimate the power of radio. And so it is one of the things that we also need to ensure that we do it right. It's one of the things that has to be done right. If you're going on radio, we need to get the right information. What radio does differently from maybe the print and electronic other media is that even whilst you're walking with your phone, you can tune into a radio station and be listening. You cannot be walking and be reading. You may fall. You may trip and fall. You cannot be walking and be watching television, but you can be walking with your phone in your bag or whatever device you have in your bag and still be monitoring the news and getting all the information that you need to get. So radio is a very powerful tool in the fight against COVID.
And how important is, because you said you're listening to the radio through your phone rather than a radio, like an FM radio. How has that shifted in the last few years? Because telecommunications and digital data is quite expensive, but it seems like, is that more important now than maybe the traditional FM kind of broadcasts?
The phone, it is not the data that they used to listen to, the phone, the radio on their phones.
Oh, there's a radio built into the phone.
Yes. The phones that we have now have inbuilt radio. So
right.
Some of them even operate without a headset.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need to have the headset on before you'll be able to listen to the radio. Unlike the previous ones that the boxes are bigger, even those that are really small are quite heavier than our phones that we have. And so it offers them a better opportunity or a simpler way.
So you just carry in one device with you.
And you get everything. If you want to go online, you can go online. If you want to use the normal radio, which is the FM built on the phone, they're able to still access it.
And that doesn't cost anything in terms of data. No, it's just making sure you're charged up, isn't it?
Yes, you just charge your battery and you're good to go.
And do you find that your programs have become more interactive because you're using the social media channels as well? You've got the call-ins, but you also, because you've got a really great Facebook page. Yeah. How do you find the difference in the use of them?
Well, it is not one of those things that people actually use a lot anyway. Our Facebook and Instagram pages. The Facebook page, it has a very great viewership and some traffic, but the Instagram and Twitter pages don't have that much traffic for now. But just like the Facebook page has been able to progress gradually, we're expecting that the Instagram and other social media pages would also pick up with time. However, it is also one of the, because there are people who are outside the region, who are outside even the country, and they are still able to access the information back home using our pages. So they're able to engage with us. They send messages, they send comments on our posts, and we're able to interact with them, and they interact with us as well.
And what's the most popular and your favorite programs that you put other than your own tourism-based show?
For me, my favorite personally is the tourism show and the kids program. Last week Saturday, Thursday and Friday, we had graduation for at the university. I was so happy because I met one of the students who featured on Premier Kids that I host as well, who featured in the Premier Kids, graduating from the university as the overall best graduating sports personality. He graduated with a second class upper and he did mechanical engineering. I was so proud. I thought, because I have monitored his growth, and when I do radio, I put in my all. It becomes a part of my life. So I don't just do it for the sake of being on air or for the sake of being heard. I also do it because I want to see the progress in the lives of the people, especially those who feature on my programs. And so I was very happy when this young man, Felix Kipe, graduated with a second class upper and as the overall best personality. It brought me so much joy. And so we'll say that, yes, these are the programs that I love most. I love everything on radio in our station, but these are my personal best programs.
And do women get a different role within the radio station than maybe they would do in other areas of daily life? What's the kind of what's the role that women play in the station?
The role of women is based on their capabilities and their qualifications. It's the same with the men. So if a man is qualified to be a producer, he's a producer. If a woman is qualified to be a producer, we give equal rights and equal opportunities to everybody who comes to the radio station.
Do you find that the response from listeners has changed over the years? Because there's more radio stations now than there used to be, and some are more commercial. But what's the kind of relationship that you have with your listeners?
Our listeners have been very faithful over the years. What we usually encounter is that when the new stations are coming, they play only music. So it is that time that I find, let's say, the youthful population shifting towards those new stations. And when they start rolling out their program, the difference is always there because we have standards that we meet, and we do not compromise on the standards at our radio station. Unlike some of the other commercial radio stations in town that are some polarized politically, and some are also, they do not meet the requirements. When I say the requirements, we have people from our radio station. Our station feeds all the radio stations with personnel because most of them are students from our institutions who have volunteered with us. And the private training institute also sent their students to come and do internships with Volta Premier FM. So you realize that, yes, the listenership, those who want discerning content that we are facts that you can actually rely on and not just anything just to get listenership, they are still with us. There are people who are very faithful, like very grown-ups, old people who are still with Volta Premier FM. And for us, that is what matters. Because if you know what you want, then you know when to tune in. So if it is music, we have music, and they know when we play music. They know when we have our news programs. They know when we have other interactive shows and even the outdoor programs. So yes, it has affected because we are now about 15 radio stations here in the regional capital alone, and they are commercial radio stations. So we are the only campus-based radio station. Sometimes the things that we used to do, or some of the coverage, our coverage area that we used to cover, they will now go and then the NCA, because they now want to give space, that's the National Communications Authority, because they want to give space to other commercial radio stations. They may limit your coverage, and some of the things that they may overlook in the past, they will now be strict on it because they need space for other people to also food for them to also make some money. They're a state regulator. So it has affected us a little, but not that much.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much you've answered so many of my questions, and you've painted a really great picture of what Volta Premier is like. I'll share the links and I'll tweet this out on World Radio Day. I don't know if you're doing anything else. Are you doing any programming yourselves, World Radio Day?
On World Radio Day, we dedicate our morning show to the celebration of the World Radio Day. We have discussions on the impact that radio has had in the lives of our listeners.
Great. Well, I'll share a link to that, and we'll interact with our content as much as we can. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll speak again sooner than 3 years, I think.
Yes, sooner than in 3 years. We have to link up more often.
Yeah. There's so much we can learn. Well, I always say there's so much more, and certainly during the pandemic here, we can learn more from you. Ghana's had 400 fatalities from COVID. We've had a lot. So there's definitely something that we need to understand that you're doing right, that we're not doing. So hopefully we can share our experiences and practices